Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Arizona Coyotes franchise mode here in NHL 22. Now, before we actually get into the episode, I just want to remind you guys that my rosters are currently out on Xbox Series X and S. If you guys want to play some throwback rosters, there will be those, and yeah, you can just go download them, use them in franchise mode, use them in play now, shootout mode, whatever you want to use them for. So just a little heads up on that front if you are waiting for those. And now let's get into our Arizona episode. So in last episode, basically we started up the season simulation. We also had free agency, which also involved actually a trade, sending Clayton Keller to what team was it? I don't remember exactly what team it was, but we did trade him away. It was probably Columbus because we brought him Boone Jenner. So yeah, it was to Columbus. And yeah, basically we started up the season simulation, and we're off to a pretty damn good start. We're 14-5-2, 8-1-1 in our last 10 games now. We look like we're a really good offensive team. The only problem I really have with our team has been our penalty kill. So we're going to probably be addressing that in this episode and then simulating a little bit more. We probably won't make any trades yet because obviously we don't know how good this team is going to be for the duration of the season. So before we get into that, we do have a few comments to go over. So the first one is from HawksFan88. He says, good start. Maybe just look at playing around with your penalty kill lines a bit to see if you could get them playing a little bit better. So right now I'll show you guys what our penalty kill percentage is. That way we can kind of do a comparison on how good it was and how bad it was and all that stuff, just to see if it actually improved throughout the season. So right now it's at a dead even 80%, which is not really good at all. So hopefully we can get it up to like 84% or something like that by the end of the year. Might be a little bit of a stretch getting it that high up, but hopefully we could at least play a little bit defensively on that penalty kill. So that's basically one of the main things we're going to do in this episode is changing up that penalty kill unit. So if we look at our penalty kill unit right now, Boone Jenner and Tracy seems to be working pretty well because they're not badly minused. But if we look at Hayton and Ponomarev, I feel like this is probably where most of the goals is happening, is on that second unit, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's probably that second unit. So I would probably take Ponomarev off, I think. But it seems like he fits the power play or penalty kill unit, which is surprising. But yeah, I think that might be it. And then we could also take Boone Jenner off this top unit. And maybe we'll put it in somebody else there instead. So yeah, we'll take Ponomarev off. I think I might want to give another chance on the penalty kill to Shelly, because I think he actually should fit our penalty kill, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if there's a way to tell if he could fit our special teams, but he should be able to, and he blocks a lot of shots and stuff like that. So let's just see if he fits in there better, and he does. Okay, that's not too bad, or maybe he doesn't, but he doesn't make it worse. So we'll put Shelly back on the penalty kill. Maybe he could get some shorthanded goals or something like that, and that would be nice. And then in terms of our penalty kill three-man line, like this is probably the main reason why we're minus is the three-man PK, I would assume. So I think even though I did bring in Boone Jenner to play better defensively, actually I can move him down to the second unit. Maybe that would help out a little bit. But I think I'm going to take Barrett Hayton off, and we are going to try... How good is Geeky's defensive stats? They're actually pretty good. We're going to try Connor Geeky as a penalty killer. Actually, that doesn't really work that well. But it might change it up a bit. But apparently he has good defensive awareness. His defensive stats aren't that bad, so he might be okay there, even though that's a minus. Let's just change up the defense maybe a bit. See if that could help it out a bit. Doesn't seem to. That's interesting. So I guess we won't go with Geeky. We could always try Farinacci, who apparently has good defensive stats, even though I didn't think I made him that good, but he doesn't fit it either really well. So I guess we're going to have a minus there regardless of who we put in. Let me just try Ponomarev. No, it doesn't work. Yeah, I think we're just going to try Geeky. Even if it gives it a minus, I think he has a good defensive skill set, so I think we'll try him on the PK unit number 2. Actually, I should just put him on the other unit as well, maybe, in that sense. Get him on both penalty kill units. But I think I want to play Shelly on this one, so I think I'm going to leave the rest of this the same. And then, yeah, just basically he's going to be on that unit instead, just because he's got good defensive stats, and hopefully that could help out our team a little bit. Now, the next comment is from Pens Gaming 7. He says, couple of things about the lines. The top 6 is pretty imbalanced, like having 3 snipers is not a good idea. Should move Shelly or Genther up, and then Agostina or Zadina down. Also should put Geeky on the third and Jenner on the fourth. Now, I understand what you're saying about that, but right now I don't really want to touch the 5-on-5 lines just because of how good they've been simulating. So if they start to decline and stuff like that in terms of like point production or playing good defensively, then we could change things up. Like, I definitely see the option for putting Geeky up. Actually, it doesn't even hurt our plus minus. Who has the better fit for that line? Actually, you're right exactly with the fitting stuff. Geeky is actually a better fit physically, so we will move Jenner down to the fourth line, so hopefully he doesn't complain about ice time. That's the only thing we're probably going to change, though, because the rest of these lines have been doing pretty good, especially that second line, and I don't really want to break it up. So, yeah, I think the rest of that is good to go for the season sim, and hopefully this team can continue to win games up until the trade deadline, because that's where we're going to sim to, is the day before the deadline. So hopefully we can just continue on this hot trend and make it back to the playoffs again, because last year was our first time in the playoffs and we lost in the first round. So if we can make it to the playoffs again, maybe we'll be a better seeded team this year, and maybe we could actually go farther than the first round, which would be pretty impressive for a young team. But let's go up until January the 1st and see how we simulate in this month of December, as Chikrin is now back to full health, but I think I already put him in the lineup because, yeah, I think I did. Yeah, he is. Okay, good. I guess he was a little bit injured near the end of last episode. In our first game with those defensive changes, we won 3-0, so that's pretty nice. And Sam Marukov has been injured, which is kind of not good because obviously he's one of our better defenders. But let's go replace player. And let's continue to simulate, and we're continuing to win games. We've actually have 2 shutouts in our last 4 games, which is pretty good. As Geeky has been injured, which is not good, but we'll go replace player again. And Sam Marukov has returned, which is nice. Because obviously playing Noah Achari as a defenseman is not going to really work with this team. And it's because JJ Moser's out with an injury at the moment. So, but there you go. And Nick Beaudain's now been injured. Jeez. Our defense can't stay healthy. And now Sam Marukov has been injured. And we actually have to call up somebody from the minors, which kind of sucks. But I mean, I will call up Tukinen because he doesn't go through waivers. Braden Schneider does. So we'll call up Tukinen for a little bit of ice time here in the NHL this season. I would like to play him at the NHL level at some point, but obviously I can't. So Tukinen will go in there, and damn, that's a -5. I need to get rid of that. Okay, there's no way to really get rid of that, I don't think. Okay, I guess we'll have to leave it like that. We'll have a -5 pairing for now. I don't know why Achari and Jokiharju don't work together, but we need to do that. Actually, unless I could put in another depth option. Or are they all injured? Yeah, they're all injured. So I guess we'll just run it like that, because it's better than having more minus pairings. So yeah, that kind of is a little bit scary, but we should have one of our injuries back soon, so that's okay. And we'll just throw in a random defenseman here to take Tukinen's spot for the time being, because Tukinen will be only up here until the replacement is back. But yeah, hopefully Tukinen can make a positive impact on this team for the next few games while whoever it is injured. I think it's Sam Marukov. It seems like when one injury happens, then you just get bombarded with them. But we're still winning games, which is good. Losing a couple this month, but we do still have a really good record, as David Gustafson's been injured, so that's a depth option. It looks like we're getting slammed with injuries. And now multiple players are back, which is good news. We do not want to play Sam Marukov as a forward, not even close. So we are going to move Jenner back up for the time being, since Geeky is still out with an injury. And do we only have depth defensemen? Looks like we only have depth defenders, so we have to call up a forward to the NHL level as well. So we'll call up somebody from the minors, and I guess that will be Kirk Henriksen, even though he goes through waivers, because he was just more of a pickup just to help us out depth-wise. But yeah. This team is getting slammed with injuries, but as long as we could stay winning games, then I am okay with that. So we'll take Sam Marukov out just because he's not going to be a forward. We'll throw Henriksen in, and then Tukinen could probably go down to the top 6 pairing, and then Achari is going to be out of the lineup. And then Beaudain is going to also go into the lineup as well. And then we could send back down Tukinen, who got to play 3 games and he had 2 points. So very positive impact from him. I don't really want to send him down, but we kind of have to unless we wanted to trade away a defenseman, which I don't really want to do at this stage. So, but we are going to send down Tukinen so he could go play back in the AHL for a little bit. Definitely he will be an NHL defenseman next season, but we have to make some tough decisions in terms of our defensive core for next season, I guess. So Karate is out, and we go back to Tukinen down there in the AHL, which is good. And defense is good there as long as Samorukov doesn't get re-injured. JJ Moser should return soon too, so we'll have a depth defenseman. And hopefully Geeky and Gustafsson return soon as well, so that way we don't have any injury problems in terms of our forward core. Let's continue to simulate. Samorukov is full health, which is good, so the defensive core is now back to full health. And apparently this thing is doing that glitch again, so I can't see what my record is. Oh yeah, now it's at the AHL for some weird reason. Okay, we're 21-9-2, and our AHL team almost has the identical record, which is kind of weird. I don't think I've ever seen that before. But we are still simulating pretty good in terms of winning games. Let's still go up to the first. There's another win in overtime, and last game of the month against the Dallas Stars as Geeky has returned, which is pretty big news for our offensive core. And that means we'll move Boone Jenner back down to the fourth line. And yeah, I guess Henriksen, actually I might end up sending Achari down on waivers. He only has 1 assist in 7 games. Henriksen's almost point per game in the NHL. So I might end up sending down Achari on waivers instead. And then we will keep Gustafsson up here because Gustafsson's pretty solid for a young guy. As David Gustafsson is now back to full health, I think I will send down Achari on waivers. He might get claimed, but I think we must do this. It will give us also a little bit more cap to work with in terms of the NHL maybe. I don't know. Now let's see if he gets claimed, and he does not get claimed, so that's nice. Maybe it's because I gave him $3 million, but that's good. We still have our depth option down there. And I guess, what position does Achari play? He plays right wing / center, so he actually does play center. So I will use him as our first line center down there in the minors over Liam Kirk. That way he could maybe help these younger guys around him. So there you go. Also, David Lawrence is almost ready, or Drew Lawrence is almost ready, I should say. That's pretty good. A lot of guys in the AHL system are getting close to NHL ready. So, okay, and Gustafsson is also back to full health, but he wasn't in the lineup anyways to begin with. He's just a depth guy, which means we are back to full health for February the 1st, or January the 1st, actually. That was a long month because of all those injuries. So we are 23-9-2, which is pretty damn nice. We are currently first in our division, and we are like second best in the entire Western Conference, which is also really good. And Chychrun is still over point per game, which is also great to see. Let's take a look at our penalty kill just to see if it has fixed itself. If not, we might make some more changes to it. But let's see if it has fixed itself a little bit, because it was at 80%. It is now at 82.2%. So since putting Shelley on there and also putting Connor Geeky on there, it's helped us out a little bit. So that's pretty good. Now, oddly enough, we do not have a short-handed goal still this season, which is kind of a surprise, but we are still one of the best teams in the league, I think, at this moment. Yeah, we are still top 5 in the league right now, so that's pretty nice. Let's continue simulating up until a day before the deadline, see if we can continue to win these games. We have been kind of struggling lately as of our last 10 games, but it could be because of the injuries we just suffered, so I'm not saying that the team is kind of sliding a bit, really. There's a 4-3 loss. There's a 2-1 win. Nice defensive game. And Beaudain's been injured again. Let's just go replace player. There's a 4-1 win. Samorukov has been injured. Damn, our defense just keeps getting slammed nonstop. At least these last 2 months. Which is kind of scary, but at least a lot of these guys are not, well, some of these guys might not be on the team next season. Like, I think if I'm going to be moving out defensemen for younger guys like Tukinen and Schneider, I would probably move out like Yoki Haru or something like that, maybe even Beaudain. But right now, like these top 3, I don't really know if I would want to move them. Like, Timmins might have to be a guy that goes on his way out eventually, as well as players grow. Soderstrom wasn't injured, right? Just got to make sure on that front. Because I know that defensive core has been slammed. No, he hasn't. Okay, good. 8-3 loss. I don't like that one, but I think LA is one of the top teams in the league, so it's okay to lose to them that bad because they're definitely a tough team to play against. So we will take Beaudain out for the time being just to put Samorukov in, and then Beaudain will go in where Moser was. So there you go. That's back and good. We are back at full health again, as Gustafsson's losing morale because of ice time, which is kind of scary. And there's another nice win. So some good defensive games near the end of that month. We are now 31-12-3, and we just beat a very good team in Carolina as well by a score of 4-1. And we are still first in our division by quite a large margin. We are still second best in the Western Conference, and Chikrin is still killing it this season. 55 points in 46 games. Absolutely incredible. Definitely he is a very good captain for this team, because I'm pretty sure he is the captain of the team. Let's go right to the deadline. Well, day before the deadline, take a look at our player stats, and then we'll also take a look at what's available on the trading block and all that stuff, just in case we actually want to make any trades this season, which I don't really think we need to, because the way this team is simulating is pretty damn good. Now, we're being offered an interesting trade. Achari and a 6 for a 5th round pick. Achari's down there in the minors, but I do need him as a depth forward, so I'm not going to accept this trade. I do have all the depth in the world technically, so I don't technically need Achari, but I don't really see this as something I want to do, because I kind of want to keep Achari in case we need him for the playoffs or something, because maybe one of the younger guys won't work. So Beaudain's been injured for the 3rd time in like 2 months, so poor guy's like not even getting healthy at all. And now Timmins has been injured, so that's a pretty big blow up till March the 1st. But it seems like our defensive core is pretty damn injury prone, so we might need to find some tough guys that could stay around and not get injured all the time, you know. So Beaudain will go into this spot for the time being, maybe. Actually, wait, let me change this around. I guess, yeah, I'll change it around like this, just for the time being, because Beaudain's going in where Timmins was. So, but at least we're still winning games. We're kind of having a little bit of a rougher month again in terms of losing, but we're now 38, 15, and 4, which is incredible to see this young team doing so well in a season where they just made the playoffs for the first time in my entire series so far. We are one of the best teams in the entire league. We are like top 4 again, I think, or so, which is pretty awesome to see. And Chikrin's literally going to put up almost 100 points this year. I don't think I've ever seen a defenseman put up that much points before, other than like EA generated guys. Like Chikrin is literally killing it. 9 goals and 62 assists in 57 games. Like, if he breaks 100 points this year, that would be incredible. I guess it's because we have a good like power play unit or something, because our power play unit has like Shelly and all those players on it. So maybe he's just helping set up everybody, which is really good. So let's simulate a few more days, because there is still a few more days before the actual deadline. So I think, yeah, we'll go up to this game against Nashville and see if we can get a couple more wins before the deadline, which hopefully we do. So we'll just take Beaudain out of the lineup for the time being, just so I could put Timmins back in the exact spots. But yeah, this defensive core has been not too bad this season, but they've just been injury prone is the only thing that I don't really like about the defensive core at the moment. There's a 3-1 loss. There's a 3-2 OT loss, so not the greatest start to the month of March, but we are 38, 16, and 5, and I think this has been an incredible year so far. Chikrin's up to 72 points in 59 games, and yeah, we're one of the best teams in the entire NHL. So now let's take a look at the team stats and player stats, just to see what we're doing well at so far and what we're not doing too good at. And then we'll take a look at the trading block, just in case we want to make some trades in next episode. But I don't really think we need to, because we have all the depth in the world in the AHL. And we can literally like play with our 4th line around and see what works the best in terms of the playoffs. Then again, the AHL team is simulating really well as well, so we might not want to juggle with their lines too much. But currently in the entire league, we are the 4th best team, only behind the LA Kings, the Pittsburgh Penguins, and the Toronto Maple Leafs, who seem to be running away with things, unfortunately. In terms of goals for per game, we are the 3rd best offensive team behind Colorado and Pittsburgh, which is pretty impressive, because Colorado obviously has like McKinnon and stuff like that, while Pittsburgh probably still has like Crosby and stuff like that, unless he retired already. But Pittsburgh is the top offensive team, but really impressed with this team so far. Goals against per game, we're the 3rd best defensive team in the entire NHL, which is pretty damn impressive as well. Definitely bringing in Boone Jenner has helped out a lot, and getting rid of Clayton Keller has made us a better defensive team. Power play percentage-wise, we are one of the best power play teams in the league at 22.9%. And our penalty kill is improved a lot as well. It's still not the greatest penalty kill, but it's still 82.1%, so it has improved by 2.1% since we made those line changes. We've also scored 4 shorthanded goals since we looked last, so that's also pretty impressive. But so we have a 16-9-1 record on home ice, and we're 22-7-4 on the road, so pretty damn good so far for this Arizona bunch. Let's take a look at our player stats so far, just to see who's been doing what. And yeah, Farinacci is incredible. He's going to get like an 8-year deal easily, with this team because he's got 61 points so far in 59 games. He's got 31 goals. He's just been scoring a lot. Pretty damn impressive for his second season so far, at least in the NHL. And Barrett Hayton, 47 points in 56 games. Hayton's been actually pretty damn good this year as well. Glad I got him still locked up for 2 more years at that 5.8 because he's going to want a lot when his contract ends, more than likely. Geeky's been also very impressive so far, 28 points in 51 games. Loving it from the youngster, only 21 years of age at this point too. Ponomarev has also been really good depth scoring wise, 15 goals, 27 points. He is a -5, which is kind of bad, but I mean, he is a good defensive player, but I think it's probably just because he was playing on the PK. But it seems like the bottom 6 is out there for most of the goals against, because Boone Jenner is also a -8 and has 25 points, but Boone Jenner has also been a pretty solid piece offensively, it seems like. Then we make our way over to the left wingers, and Mr. Tyler Agostino, 48 points in 59 games. He has 23 goals, which is pretty impressive for a playmaker, and he's a +21. Loving it so far from Agostino. He's up to an 88 overall. Loving it. And his contract, I think, is, also up. So he's also probably going to get like an 8-year deal because I want to lock those guys up long term, I think, because I think those guys are the main core players, Agostino, Farinacci, and Shelley. Genther, 39 points, pretty solid. He isn't scoring a lot of goals, but he doesn't seem to take as much shots as you would think, to be honest. And then Zadina's been pretty solid, 34 points, but only 8 goals, which I don't really like, but at least he's helping out offensively. And then Braden Tracy's been pretty solid with 21 points on that 4th line, and I think some power play time as well. Right wing wise, Calvin Shelley's got 32 goals through 59 games in his second full NHL season. He's literally on pace to probably get like 50-something goals almost this year. Maybe 40-something, but ridiculous though, because he's already got 15 power play goals. He's got a shorthanded goal as well since being put on the shorthanded unit. Very much liking that so far. And yeah, also he has blocked not really a lot of shots anymore, even though he has good shot blocking, which is kind of weird. But yeah, I'm really liking his stats so far. Also, when his ELC runs out, we're going to have to give him an 8-year deal. Julian Gauthier has been solid, 20 points. I'll take that any day. And Armia has been pretty solid as a 4th liner with 16 points. Then we go to our defensive core, and Jacob Chikrin has been amazing this season. Like, I don't even know how he's been this good, but I'm so glad we locked him up on a 6-year deal. I should have honestly went 8 years, but he's been so good so far. 72 points in 59 games and a +28. And Soderstrom, as his partner, has been pretty good. 31 points through 54 games and a +18. Timmins 15 points, Sam Rukov 12 points, Yogiharu 9, Bodin 8, and Moser has 4 in 19. As for our goaltenders, Alenefeld has been pretty solid. He's got 4 shutouts this season. But yeah, he's been pretty good, I would say. And Jack Campbell's also been fantastic as the backup. So very good stats from our goaltenders this year as well, which you'll love to see. So that is our player stats so far. Let me take a quick look at the AHL. So we're getting some good progress from a lot of our young guys. More than likely, there's a lot of these guys that will eventually have to get traded because some of them won't be able to get into our lineup otherwise. But we do have tons of good prospects down there, which is great to see. And goalie-wise, has Wallstead grown? He almost has, so we could maybe use him as a backup next year. He definitely looks like he's wanting to be a backup next year because of those stat lines, so we might have to get rid of one of our 2 goalies in the offseason. Prosvedal has been pretty good. Tendex played barely anything. So there is the NHL and AHL. Now let's take a quick look at the trading block just to see what is out there in case we want to make any trades, but I really don't think we need to because of the amount of good players we have in the AHL. We could, like I said, we could call up any of them to help out with our team in the playoffs if we need to. But yeah, I don't really think there's going to be anything that screams interesting to me on the block. But if we're going to address one thing, I think it would be still our defensive core a little bit because of the fact we've been suffering a lot of defensive injuries. But there is good options out there. Olofsson on 1 year left, which is kind of good. But, I mean, we don't really want to go up right against the cap situation at the moment. But yeah, a lot of defensemen on the block, which is kind of what I think we need. We do have younger guys in the AHL. I could honestly call up Tukinen for the playoff run if we want to. And I could call up Schneider instead. And then we could probably move out Bonet if he's a liability, that type of thing. But there is some damn good defensemen out there for sure. It's just more about if we actually want to make trades, because we do have the assets we could move, like in terms of prospects, if we want to try and contend even more so. But like, I don't really think it's necessary still. So Mikey Anderson, who's still an RFA apparently. A lot of Minnesota prospects. Montreal has Bertuzzi, Gallagher, and Drouin, Dvorak, and FNCU. A lot of teams offloading some good players in terms of forwards and defense. Tyler Myers, no thank you. Zaitsev, Backstrom. Some prospects in the Rangers system, not that I need those. Same with Ottawa. Ryan Graves, that's a good defenseman, but 2 years left I don't like because I need to sign some big offseason contracts this year. So we're going to be probably close against the contract situation. Let me take a look at, who is this dude? Ross Reed, okay. I was wondering about what his name was. So, Pesci is pretty solid, but 5 years left. Carlson, 2 years left. Vlasic only has 1 year left, which is not that bad, but he's not that good anymore. Jack Hughes is still on the block. Noah Hannafin. Yeah, there is a lot of defensemen on the block mainly, which is good because it does give us options if we do actually want to make a trade or not. Killorn, Pearson, Tuck, Hutton, Cousins. Schmitz, Lavin's pretty good, but 3 years left. I don't like that. CC, no thank you. And that's pretty much what is on the block. So I think that's pretty much it. Let me also show you guys again the contract situation just so you could know who we actually have to re-sign. Maybe we could give some of these guys contracts in next episode already. But we could lock up Agostino for 8 years at maybe like, if we do the 85% trick, we could probably get him down to pretty much around this price, I'm guessing. So I think we definitely need to give Agostino a contract. And then, oh man, Farinacci wants 1 year at 10 million. We go to 8 years, he wants 16. So I don't know what we give for Farinacci. Do we just give him right down in the middle? Like, do we give him like 4 years left or what? Like, he wants a lot of money if we go to that. But, I mean, he definitely is worth it seems like at this stage, but I don't know how good he's going to get long-term wise. As for Genther, he's probably not going to want as much. Yeah, he's going to be a little bit of a cheaper option, which is good. We could probably honestly lock him up for 6 years at a little bit cheaper than this, like 4.5, which I think would be a steal. And then, yeah, Ponomarev is also going to get a little bit expensive, that type of thing. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Arizona Coyotes franchise mode. So in next episode, we might make some trades, depending if you guys think we want to or not. And yeah, we'll simulate the rest of the season, and hopefully we'll make it back to the playoffs. More than likely we will. And yeah, hopefully we have a good playoff run. So let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.